Hey trainers, welcome back to Pokemon Deck Check. I would be Pokedad.
I'm the Dancing Bear at first base.
And today we have Dallas Regional Tournament Report with deck profile. The Dancing Bear performed pretty well, right?
Yeah.
And then I performed pretty well talking to the other Poke parents. So I did my job, he did his. Real quick, sponsor?
Ink Gaming, your answer to all your customizable tabletop gaming needs.
Indeed. So,
That GX counter out.
with the GX counter out of the way, let's do this.
So, the deck's going to start off, of course, with 4 Zeros and 4 Zoroarks, because that's basically this whole meta. Then 4 Shamans, 1 Toad, 1 Tapu Lele, 1 Grimer, 1 Muck, 1 Marshadow, 1 Pseudo, and 1 Execute.
So very streamlined, very consistent. For those that may not be aware, this is called Zoroark Exodia. What it's aiming to do is play down almost at least half to 3/4 its deck on turn 1, all the while picking up pieces of combo like Marshadow to put your opponent's hand down to 4, either by Marshadow's Let Loose or red card. And from there, you're going to delinquent them down to 1, then use peeking red card. Look at the 1. If it helps them, make them shuffle it. If it's kind of a dead card, let them keep it. So you're aiming to lock your opponent out, all the while just setting up everything, right?
Indeed.
So, talk about the Toad, why it's so useful.
So, especially when you go second, because, spoilers, there's 2 float stones in the deck. So you can retreat and then do a Quaking Punch, and if they're not expecting it, then it can do quite a lot of damage to them.
So, I can just picture you putting your opponent down to just 1 card, picking red card, seeing what it is, and if it's an item like a VS Seeker or something, you just let them keep it, then you go in with Quaking Punch, right?
Yeah.
So the item like, and I actually, if we had more time, well, not really more time, but more time than the night before, I was actually thinking of just a heavy Toad Shaman built around the hand locked. So you just run Toad and Shaman, and you just, no matter what, you item lock them. Just Quaking Punch them.
Yeah. Could be interesting. Could be good.
Yeah. It was just a kind of a theory mon concept I had after the fact. After we had decided to do this, and as we were testing it, I'm like, what if you just play 4 Toad and 4 Shaman, and you just do the combo, and you just item lock them from there. And then you can even run Laser Burbank to up Toad's damage. So, and then remove DCs or whatnot.
1 Tapu Lele, that's going to be used for mainly to get out Delinquent. There's not really any other purpose for it except for getting the Delinquent.
Yeah, it's just a one-of tech, and like the Dancing Bear said, you just put it down and you immediately grab Delinquent. And after that, it just goes right into the discard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Muck, talk to us about Muck. What's the threats to the deck?
Pseudo-Widow.
Pseudo absolutely destroys this deck, right?
Yep.
But it's also useful in shutting off your opponent's Shaman, their Lele, and their Executes. So it kind of limits them from getting outs. Which we also thought about playing Silent Lab. But Muck kind of performs the same function as Silent Lab. And it's harder to deal with Muck than it is Silent Lab.
Yeah.
So.
And 1 Execute just for a prop trade is super good. And you can use it to Ultra Ball it away and save a couple cards.
And this is for Mirror Match or any other Zoroark variant, right? Or the Ho-Ho Rayquaza decks.
Anything that's running Skyfield, just pseudo it. Then onto the items. 4 Ultra Ball, 4 VS Seeker, 3 Trainer's Mail, 2 Rescue Stretcher, 2 Choice Band, 2 Level Ball, 2 Peeking Red Card, 2 Regular Red Card, 2 Ultra Ball, 1 Computer Search, 1 Battle Compressor, 1 Special Charge, and 1 Pokemon Communication.
So, all the 2 ofs is basically just in case something's surprised, right?
Yep.
Because the combo is either red card or Marshadow, and then for sure Peeking Red Card, right?
Yep.
So 2 of those just to make sure there's no prizing issues. Float Stone, just like the Dancing Bear said, to get that Quaking Punch.
And also, a lot of the times you'll start with something like Execute. I've started with Shaman quite a lot. I've started with Grimer like 2 times, Pseudo a couple times, Zura quite a lot of the time, and Toad a decent amount.
So it's nice to have the versatility of Free Retreat. So
And
that's
egg.
why the 2. Pokemon Communication, you can do some nice, cute little plays where you propagate the egg back into hand, then Communication, put it on top, and then grab something else you need, you know?
Communication has always been great.
Yeah.
It's super useful.
Excellent card. Special Charge, feel like that's obvious. Choice Band, you never want to go less than 2, because you still want to knock out other Zoroarks.
Honestly, 3 could have been really nice.
Yeah.
3 of those, maybe even 3 red cards so I can for sure hit the combo. And if they do something like Big Wheel GX, then I can red card them.
Yeah, that's something going forward I think you'd have to anticipate and tech for, which we can get in that at the end. But just keep that in mind. What would you tech for the 3rd Choice Band or the 3rd red card?
Battle Compressor, it's okay. It's been useful sometimes. Honestly, the Alolan Muck and Alolan Grimer, I didn't use any of the games. They would have been useful, but it's super hard to get out, and if you're already pseudoed, then it's hard to put down.
So would a Silent Lab be a... Well, then you can't Shaman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, interesting going forward. What else you got?
2 Rescue Stretcher. Once you bump the Skyfield, or if it ever does get bumped, you're going to need a way to get those Pokemon back.
And it's probably nice to shuffle all 3 Shaman back in, or 2 Shaman and a Lele or something.
Honestly, Computer Search, if you wanted to, it could be Dowsing Machine. Both would be super good.
We went back and forth on that. We opted for the Computer Search because you for sure want to get the turn 1 combo. So that makes you more consistent in that regard. But I think late game, I think Dowsing Machine has a lot to offer.
Battle Compressor just to get rid of the egg, 1 Delinquent, and then, depending on the situation, another card. So
Okay.
maybe the Faba, you could discard that with the Battle Compressor, and then via Secret later.
Supporters?
A lot of the deck is items, so if you play against Trash Lanch, then just, you're going to get 1 shot. 2 Delinquent, 1 Cynthia, 1 Guzma, 1 Faba, and 1 Chorus.
Not many supporters, just the 2, just for prizing issues.
Yep, and Battle Compressor, you can discard 1, so you can via Seeker for it.
Just easier access to it.
Yeah, a lot of options.
And then Cynthia is super good early game to shuffle draw, and then Chorus, of course, is an absolute monster late game. This was our tech for this weekend, right?
Yeah.
How much value did Faba bring to the table?
Overall, I mean, it was okay.
Did it carry its weight, or would there have been something else?
I didn't play against... I wasn't ever Quaking Punch.
Because we went back and forth on this or Lucamine. So looking back, would you keep the Faba or the Lucamine?
Keep the Faba. There was no situation where I needed the Lucamine.
Okay, that's what we were thinking, that Faba might be better because it's a nice answer for Garbotoxin and other DC?
Toad, Special Energy, even the other Zoroark decks. I used it quite a lot against the Zoroark decks.
Yep, so...
Just to make them dig even more. And if they missed it, then it was critical.
Okay, so looks good. What else you got?
One Guzma. There were a couple situations where I wish there was two, but overall in that game where I did prize it, I still won. And, I mean, it would have been nice, but it wasn't completely needed.
Okay.
Then for supporters, I think it's pretty obvious. For Skyfield, so you can get the Delinquent, so you can put down 8 Pokemon on your bench to get the one shot.
Yeah. Because you're basically going to burn one Skyfield right from the beginning with the Delinquent, so you need 3 to last you the rest of the game.
4 DCs for Zoroark's attack and Toad.
Okay, so round 1 you faced Toad Zoroark, right?
Mirror match.
Mirror match.
But they ran like 2 Toads.
And you went second. So, folks, that's our biggest problem with Expanded is too much of the time it's whoever goes first, 9 times out of 10 ends up winning, right?
Yep. The first game we honestly both dead drew, and he was able to get out of it quicker than I was, and he knocked me out, and that was game.
So, round 1, your opponent goes first, he wins. Game 2, you go first, you win. Game 3, he goes first, he wins. And it's kind of a mirror match other than he plays the second Toad, right?
Yep.
So, alright, so there's nothing you can do about that. Because, I mean, his deck did what it's designed to do, and your deck did what it's designed to do. It's just who gets the turn 1 Delinquent first, you know? And that was always the problem with a turn 1 Hex or a turn 1 Getsus. So, inherent problems with Delinquent anyways. So, round 2.
I played against Zoroark.
Zoroark. Now, this deck is built to beat Zoroark, so...
Oh, wait, no, not Zoroark. Gliscod.
Zoroark.
The other G.
Okay, so this should handle that really well.
I was able to get the combo both games, and there was nothing he could have done.
Okay.
And I also got the Toad lock. So, I mean...
Yeah.
Item locked, down to 1.
Nothing you can do. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do in that situation. Okay, so round 3.
I played against Blastoise with Wellord.
Okay, and we showed on the channel how that matchup goes. Once you get the Toad lock, there's really nothing they can do, especially if you hit them with a turn 1 Delinquent red card and all that, right? There's nothing they can do.
So, how it went down was, first game, I got the lock off, and there was nothing he could have done. Got the lock. I got the quick knockouts and was out of there. Game 2, I was struggling to set up, and he was able to get the turn 1 Archie's Blastoise and get the knockout. Then game 3, he missed the Archie's turn 1, and I missed the... Actually, I hit the Delinquent red card and stuff, but he was able to get Archie's in hand, and then top deck the Battle Compressor. And he did that and was able to get set up. So once that happened, he didn't really have much going on after that, so I was able to get a couple turns, and then I Guzma'd up the Blastoise, and I took the knockout on it, and he didn't have anything powered up, so once I took the knockout, it was basically game. He didn't really have another way to get another Archie's Blastoise.
Okay, so round 4. So at this point, you are 2-1. So round 4.
I played against... Remember those two?
Was it a fighting deck?
I don't think it was a fighting deck.
Or was it Zorotoad?
I didn't play against a Zorotoad except kind of the first one.
Mirror match?
Mm-mm.
I thought you said it was a Zoroark.
I played against... I remember what I played against. It was a Zoroark variant, but it never got to the point where I could see what type of Zoroark variant it was because I got red card delinquent game 1. I think it was Zoroark. I just got the delinquent and locked him out both games.
I remember you saying he bridgeted and he had like Trubbish and then Zero, and then you hit him with the combo and then he was not able to evolve anything, so you just...
Orangaroo Zoroark. Like, kind of like the Zoroark control.
So Zoroark control.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so you're 3-1 at this point, so round 5. That's where you ran into the Drampa Garb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we had not tested, right?
We didn't think it was going to be that popular.
It was completely off the radar, folks, but it turns out...
It's a super strong counter.
It's money against this deck, because if they get Drampa with 1 energy and you delinquent red card them, guess what? They just big wheel GX, get 10 cards in hand. So now you have to do all your combo again. And that's hard. It's easy to get it done once, but it's even more difficult to do it twice, right?
Yeah, because you've gone through so many resources.
And by that point, if you do go through all those resources again, then Trash Lanch is absolutely going to destroy you, right?
Mm-hmm. And they also have Righteous Edge to pop off the DCs.
Which forces you to dig more to get them.
Yeah.
So everything that deck does forces you to use more resources. And it's going to punish you for that.
Yep. I was only able to win 1 game because he started with Trubbish and I got the lock. And once he started with Trubbish, he couldn't big wheel GX, so I was pretty safe there.
So you feel like next time you should have just Guzma'd up something? Sacrifice the turn 1 to just ensure Drampa's not in the active? Does that make sense?
When I did the combo, he didn't have any cards in hand. Once I did it, just nothing. He top decked the energy and boom.
Oh.
Energy choice span big wheel for 10. I even Toad item locked and he still pulled that off. I Toad Quaking Punch. He had no cards in hand.
And just top deck. Well, I mean, we saw in the stream, Stefan top decked that Shaman out of the lock.
Yeah.
Remember? And he was able to draw 6 out of the delinquent red card. So,
yep.
It is what it is, but going forward, Drampa with the big wheel is an issue. So...
Another issue, Wailord Stall, next deck that I had to go against.
Yeah, how would that have gone if you had taken out Muck and Grimer and added 1 Orangaroo?
I would have won.
You think so?
Endless supply of energy. And I think just overall, I would have had enough resources to take the game.
So, Wailord and Drampa, your 2 hardest matchups, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then game 1, you just hit a mirror match, and they luckily won the coin flip.
Yep.
And then the last round, what'd you face off against?
I went against Naganadel with Tapu Koko.
So a spread deck, huh?
Tapu Koko GX.
Oh, Tapu Koko GX.
It was interesting.
Sounds like it.
I was able to get the combo off. I went first, got the combo. I didn't have the Toad Lock, and I kind of just had a Zura, and I just passed. Zura, DC, Choice Band, pass. And then he got just Drew Pass, and I'm like, okay. And I got the Zoroark, all that. And then I did his I did Zoroark's attack because I had a whole bunch of Pokemon on my bench. Just knocked out the Tapu Lele that he started with. So he went first the next game. And in my hand, I wasn't really able to get the lock. He had an okay setup. He had a couple Naganadals, or not at the time, Poiples. He didn't have a Coco. And this game, I more of went for a really aggressive instead of trying to go for the lock, because I knew I could just one-shot whatever he put up. And if I was smart enough, then he wouldn't be able to one-shot me unless I had 2 DCs attached, because then he could use the GX attack for 200, Choice Band 230, or the Electro Powers.
So it's not like it was just, you just went in, you just changed your strategy once you found out what he was playing.
Yeah, I went for a more aggressive.
And at that point, it was just a clean sweep, right?
Yeah, he put it up 130. I say, okay, knockout. And then he would just be playing catch up while I was prop trade.
Yeah.
6 new cards, 7.
There's nothing he can really do. Okay, so the deck performed really well. It was more of the big wheel and hitting the Wailord stall.
Yeah.
And so what changes would you make without sacrificing your other matchups? What changes would you make? Go ahead and throw them out here.
There's no way for me to win the Drampa Garb, so honestly, I'm just gonna have to take the loss to that one.
Yep, agreed.
But if I play against Wailord, then I'm gonna add the Oranguru, because you can also use it for other matchups. It's a Pokemon that you can place onto your bench and use for 20 extra damage. And
so what are you cutting? The Battle Compressor? The Faba? What didn't give you value that you could...
I think I might cut Faba.
Maybe Faba for Oranguru?
Yeah.
Or what do you think?
Because, I mean, I think Faba, it had some value, like a tiny bit. But...
You once said the Muck and Grimer, but I don't think that's a...
Knowing what I played against, Muck and Grimer wouldn't have been useful.
But there were several people playing something similar to you or other Zoroark or Zoroark variants where the Muck and Grimer would.
Also think another Choice Band, because there was one part where I did was just a tiny bit short of the knockout. And if I had Choice Band, then that would have been it.
So, yeah, but are you going to sacrifice Muck and Grimer? So it sounds like you're stuck between... What about the 4th Shaman? Would 3 have got it done?
Nope. Keeping the 4.
So...
Because, I mean, there's no situation where I'm going to be like, oh, I drew into Shaman. It's always going to be like, yeah, I drew into Shaman.
The list is really tight, and it may be, those are your options. Those are your only tech options.
This put in too much value to be as an option.
Okay, so these are all your only, you have to, how scared are you of Sudowoodo? I'm big time scared. I don't see why every deck in Expanded is not playing Sudowoodo, right? To avoid the one-shot KO. So I do not consider this optional. So that leaves us here. So I think you have to decide which one of those spots is a Oranguru and which spot is something else or what.
That's another tech to beat Wailord.
The Oranguru should get it done.
Alright.
But I mean, how many of those did you see around the Wailord stall? one, maybe two. You just got unlucky. So you're going to tech for a matchup that you won't see 90% of the time. Yeah, you can't do that. You have to tech for the stuff that's going to be there. Zoroark, I think it's more important to tech for the mirror match or the fighting decks or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Than Wailord's Stall. But Oranguru brings a lot to the table for the other matchups too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to think about.
Because you can get back all your stuff.
But that's what we got. Deck was fun to play, right?
Yeah, I did enjoy playing it. And I overall had quite a lot of fun at the tournament.
And we had a few friends or whatever playing this deck also. Pretty close to the same 60, and one just barely missed top 8, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to Julian Rodriguez for barely missing top 8 with almost the same list.
Good accomplishment.
Yeah. So anything else there, Dancing Bear?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, hopefully y'all enjoyed. Our Expanded is done for the rest of the year. Maybe next year around this time, when Dallas does another Expanded Regional, we'll have more Expanded coverage. But, yeah, that's it, huh, for Expanded?
Yeah.
We've already taken part most of them for the year.
Most of them, all except for this one.
So we had a lot of fun at the Dallas Regional. The most fun was getting to meet some of you guys and girls, and that was definitely my highlight of the tournament.
I was glad to meet 5 of y'all.
Yeah, he was busy playing and I was busy talking, so that's the way that goes.
No one wanted to meet me. It's all right.
So, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a pleasure to meet everyone that stopped by and said hi to us. It meant a lot, and I'm just glad that we can provide content that you enjoy or look forward to, or it helps you out in some way. So, until then, be excellent to each other.